Okay, guys, I wanted to make my own video, just so I'm not sending you lots of little videos. I hope you've been able to keep up with the other ones. But I would like to go over increasing and decreasing with you. You probably will hear some barking because I am dog sitting some insane dogs. Sorry about that. And so let's just go through increasing and decreasing. So I am on page 16 in your notes, and I want to go over Target A day 2. After this, we will just practice, and then Target A is over, and then we just have one more target. But for increasing and decreasing, it's the same thing as we've done before. You need to think to yourself, which direction is this going in? So when we're doing increasing and decreasing, you're literally going to drag your pencil along the function. And if I do this, if for this function right here, I am decreasing, my pen is going down. So my pen is going down, so I'll just make a note of that. And then let's take a look at that other function over here. If I take my pen and go down, and draw, I am going down. So I am also going down here as well. Oops. With that being said, let me get back to that page. With that being said, I am not increasing anywhere. So I'm increasing none. When you put that, you have none. I apologize. I'm really new with making videos on my computer, so my handwriting is really crappy on this, so I'm sorry about that. But anywho, so now we need our intervals of decreasing, and we've already decided that both of these functions are decreasing. And so we just need to figure out when that's happening. Remember, increasing and decreasing are at x values. So let me write x values. Increasing and decreasing is x values. And so when I think about what's happening over here, I'm decreasing starting all the way to the left. All the way to the left is negative infinity. So I'm decreasing from negative infinity to, and then I need to figure out where I'm decreasing to. Decreasing, decreasing, decreasing until I have a vertical asymptote right here. So this is making me not go any further along the x-axis, at least for now. So I need to figure out where this happens at. So this happens at 1, the x value of 1. So right there is 1. So I'm decreasing until I hit 1. And then I know that I need to think about this function up here. And I'm going to figure out what's going on with this function. This function starts decreasing right here at this line again. And remember, this line was x equals 1. So I'm going to have 1. I'm not going to have any jumps. So remember, we don't want any jumps. So where I stop decreasing is going to be where I want to start decreasing again, if I'm only decreasing. And then I am following this. I'm decreasing, decreasing forever to the right in the positive direction. So I am going to infinity. So there's that one for you. I'm going to have you finish C, a problem like C, or B and C. You should be able to finish B and C. I'll give you a hint. In C is another problem just like this one. So you're not going to have any increasing. And then for decreasing, or I'm sorry, for B, problem B, it's going to be the opposite. So think about that. Remember, we're not going to think about these holes at all. So don't worry about holes. I'm no longer going to teach those. And then I'm going to do problem D for you. Problem D is much of this. Oh, actually, never mind. We are going to skip problem D for that. So don't worry. Skip problem D. But then please go on to page 17. Page 17 is very similar. Remember, you're just supposed to be putting this stuff in your calculator. So I'm going to show you how to do a couple of these. So let's do A together. And when you put these in your calculator, these are fractions. So remember, you want to put the numerator in parentheses and the denominator in parentheses. So I'm going to first make this a little bit bigger so you can see. We're going to go to add a graph. Remember, you want to put the numerator in parentheses and then the denominator, so divided by x plus 3. And then graph, and we should get something that looks like this. And first things first, I want to help you guys. Sometimes using the graph, it may be hard to notice where your asymptote is going to be. And you may see basically what a vertical asymptote is where your graph what x cannot equal. So in Target C, we talked about making rules. as far as what x can equal. And so we need to think about the same thing. We cannot have our denominator be 0. Whoa. We cannot have our denominator be 0. And so, sorry about that. And so we need to set the bottom equal to 0. So x plus 3 equals 0. And we need to figure out what x cannot be. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. And I know that x cannot equal -3. It is undefined at x equals -3. So what that means is I'm going to have a vertical asymptote there. So no matter what's happening at x equals -3, which is right here, my graph has to not cross it. So if we're going to have an asymptote at x equals -3. So in a second, we're going to fill out the increasing, decreasing. Let's follow these two functions and first see if we have increasing or decreasing. So if I were to draw my pen along this function, my pen would be going down. So I'm decreasing. And then for this other function, if I were to draw this function going left to right, I also would be going down. So with that being said, I have no instances of increasing. No instances of increasing. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Sorry. And then decreasing, I am decreasing starting all the way from the left. And remember, we know that all the way from the left is -infinity. Sorry about that. Let me go back to that. Here we go. Alrighty, so I'm decreasing from -infinity to, and I'm looking back at my calculator over here, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And so I'm decreasing along the x values, and then I'm decreasing, and then I cannot pass this point over here. This graph will never go further than here. So I'm going to be decreasing along my x values. Remember, we're using x values. I'm decreasing until I hit x equals -3. Oops. Excuse me again. I don't know why this keeps happening. So I'm decreasing from -infinity to -3, which should make sense because I have an asymptote there. If you are watching this video before you've watched any of the other ones, make sure you do so because this will only work if you know what we've been doing the last few days. And then union with, then let's take a look at this function over here. This function over here starts decreasing along this x value. So we have to find what this x value is, but remember, we don't want any jumps. So we know that that x value is going to be -3 as well. I'm so sorry that this keeps happening, but we just got to make do with what we've got. So from -3, and then looking at our calculator, I am decreasing forever to the right, and the x value forever to the right is to infinity. So that would be how we do example A. With that being said, you are going to want to do the same thing for question B. Question B, make sure you figure out what cannot be to help you with your asymptote. And then I'll give you a hint, you shouldn't be decreasing. And then for question C, I want to give you a hint on question C. And then you should be able to do question D because they're similar. So for question C, you may want to factor this denominator to figure out where these asymptotes are going to be, just in case you can't tell from the calculator. And so factoring this denominator, I'm going to get, excuse me, I'm going to get, whoops. All right, I'm going to get x minus 3 and x minus 1. So that's what I'm going to get. And then if I set those both equal to 0, I know that x cannot be 3 and x cannot be 1. So when I graph this in my calculator, I should be seeing vertical asymptotes at 3 and 1. So let's see if that's true. So we're going to go to new document. No, I don't want to save this. Menu. Oops. New document. No, add a graph. Remember, you want to put the numerator in parentheses separate from the denominator. X squared minus 4x plus 3. And you're going to get something like this. And so we're like, okay, what's going on here? And so we still are going to take this one step at a time. And so let's just do one function at a time. So I'm going to take care of this function all the way on the left, then the one in the middle, and then the one all the way to the right. And so if I were to take my pen along this calculator, I would be increasing. If I drew this, I'd be increasing. So let's start with that interval. I'm increasing from all the way from the left. So the value that's all the way from the left is going to be negative infinity. And let's figure out to where I stop. So I stop increasing along the x-axis right about here, where x is equal to 1. So to 1, and in case you couldn't figure out from your graph that that was 1, we can double check with our vertical asymptotes that we know that x equals 1, or x cannot be 1 at that point. I'm sorry, this should be x cannot, oh, that is, but it doesn't look like it. X cannot be 1. And then so I'm increasing then there. So I've already taken care of this function on the left. Now I'm going to do the one in the middle. This function in the middle, if I draw this function, I start by increasing. So I'm going to take care of that function. So I'm increasing along the x values. I know you want to think about the y values. You're like, oh, that's increasing from negative infinity, but it's not. We're talking x values. So along the x-axis over here, and I start increasing at about 1, and that should make sense because we don't want any gaps. So we're going to increase again from 1, and then I'm increasing until I hit this point. And we need to figure out what point this happens at. And you guys know how to find what point this happens at because this is a maximum. So we can go to our menu, analyze graph, maximum. And your lower bound, your upper bound, oops, that didn't work. You're going to go to your lower bound, your upper bound, and that point is at 2, negative 2. So that means the x value that this stops increasing at is at 2. So we're going to have union negative 1, or 1 to 2. So I'm increasing from negative infinity to 1, and then I increase again from 1 to 2. Now we're going to figure out decreasing. So I'm going to finish with this function. Once I hit 2, I start to decrease. So I'm decreasing starting at 2, and then I go until I reach the x value that's over here. So I need to figure out which x value is over here. Remember, we're thinking x values. I know you want to think about infinity, but that's y values. So what value along the x-axis do I not cross over here? And that looks to be 3. And then we know that that's going to be 3. I'm sorry, I keep changing colors. I cannot tell which colors these are. But I know it's going to be 3 because I knew that one of my vertical asymptotes was also going to be x equals 3. And then I need to see what's going on with this function over here. So I finished with the function in the middle. Now I need to go back to the function on the right. And if I were to draw this function, I would be decreasing again. And so I need to figure out what x value do I start decreasing at. And remember, we don't want any jumps. So if I stopped at x equals 3 right here, if I stopped at 3, then I want to start again at 3. Oops, I did not mean to change the color again, but we're this far already. And then I'm decreasing forever to the right, and the value that's forever to the right is positive infinity. And this is how I do question C. If you can do question C, you can do question D. And then I would like for you to finish those notes and then read teams for the rest of the assignment. I'm going to post my note answers on this page so that you can get the rest of the answers that you can check. And then I would like for you to try the homework on pages 20 and 21. It's very short. I hope that you feel I haven't been giving you too much. And then to next week, we will practice, and then we will go to Target D. I am available for questions at any time. I hope you guys are doing well. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your bodies. Make sure that you go and get your meals. You can go to any elementary school or middle school or high school, and you can get breakfast and lunch for 2 days at a time. So you can get Thursdays and Fridays, Mondays and Tuesdays, whatever you so choose. And then, yeah. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'm so sorry this is so sloppy. I will get better at this, I promise. I am brand new, but I miss you guys, and I hope you guys are all doing well. Take care of yourselves.